Welcome to Forked Up, your go-to podcast for all things rice, rockets, and recalls. I'm Matt Holloway.
And I'm Michelle Davis. Today we're talking adventure cosplay, skyrocketing grocery costs, and hot-ass food facts.
So stay tuned, y'all. It's about to get forked up. This episode is sponsored by All33. What are y'all sitting on? Is it a cheap office chair that you bought maybe a year or so ago when you realize you're going to be working at home a lot more? Is it one of those expensive gamer chairs that have LED lights and speakers and what is all that shit? What is all that stuff in the chair? Huh?
It doesn't help you sit and it doesn't help you game.
Yeah, is there any practical use, or are you sitting better? Whatever you're sitting on, I promise there's no way that you're getting the back support that you need.
And listen, we get it. Last year you started maybe working from home and you just grabbed whatever you could. But now you've been spending countless hours on this crappy chair or curled up on your sofa. And whatever you're doing, it's doing way more harm than good to your back, which is why we want to tell you about the chairs that we use here in our office and in our studio. All33's Backstrong chairs use a patented sit-in-motion technology, which gives you optimal lumbar support, effectively moving all 33 of your vertebrae in whatever form you sit in. It is essentially an anti-slouch chair.
Like this isn't just another desk chair. This is the last desk chair that you're ever going to buy. Everyone that we've had here in the studio who sits in them is wowed by them. They're fantastic.
And that's why we've partnered with All33 to give y'all $100 off your order. Just go to all33.com, use code word forked at checkout and get $100 off.
Again, that's all33.com and use code forked at checkout to get $100 off the last desk chair you're ever going to buy. What the fuck is going on, everybody? Michelle, how you doing?
Yeah.
Fantastic start. Fantastic. What?
Yeah, no, it keeps it too real.
Michelle, what's on the menu this week? What do we got?
We have a new recipe up on the site. It's our green rice bowl with black bean croquettes, which is really, it's just like slider burgers without a bun. I mean,
Croquette sounds very fancy. Croquette sounds like a sport that like aristocracy.
Like croquet.
See, that's what my brain's doing. my brain is like flip-flopping those. Yeah. So
no, it's not a fancy meal. It's just, I had been making this green rice for a while because it's kind of a take on a rice that I've had here in Los Angeles at a restaurant called Cacao. And so I've been making it and playing with it for a long time. It was up on our story actually months ago, and everyone's like, "Where's the recipe?" I was like, "Calm down." But I've just been eating it with black beans on the side. I'm like, I'm not just gonna give people a recipe for rice and then be like, put black beans near it.
A lot of people do.
I know.
A lot of people would. They would do that shit and they put it in a cookbook and they would charge y'all for it. We won't.
No. So I came up with a black bean croquette recipe so you can actually make them in the food processor. It's really simple with some corn, some spices. It's delicious. And then you just bake them real quick. And the rice, you throw all the herbs together. So it's cilantro, parsley, green onions, etc. You put it in a blender or food processor, make like a green slurry, and then you cook the rice in that. And it's like I could just eat that fine.
It's a great dish. And I swear if you order this at a restaurant, they would charge you $18.
Oh, for the bowl? For the whole bowl?
For the bowl.
For sure they charge you $18. But if you got a side of this rice, it would be $5.
Yeah.
But you could also fold in like grilled corn into the green rice, and you could fold in the black beans right into the green rice, and it would be delicious. It's really good room temperature too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, that's up on the website, and I've been eating it for months, so I approve.
Yeah. You know what else is up is billionaires. They're up in the sky. We got the rich guys are blasting off and leaving the rest of us. And I know I've been bitching about this for feels like years at this point. Yeah, that I've been talking about wealthy people just disappearing off into space.
We asked T.I., remember when he was on the pod, to tell us when rich people started colonizing the moon, to give us like a little hint.
Like, T.I., let us know, man.
And he's like, oh, and we're like, remember, we asked you.
Come on, man, T.I. But yeah, Bezos blasted off into space this morning. We're recording this on Tuesday morning. And yeah, I think that his
His penis-shaped rocket ship.
yeah, big old phallic rocket ship. I mean, I guess I'm not a rocket scientist. Like, I don't think anyone's.
I mean, they're
surprised by that,
inherently.
but-
What?
yeah,
I mean, rockets are inherently phallic, but this one was like, it felt like it was extra.
it did.
It
yeah,
felt like
it had a tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to see how it felt.
That'd be great if the smoke came out the front end of it.
Oh, Jesus
If
Christ.
they did that right before
No.
launch.
I mean, it's just like, how insecure are you in your masculinity that you have to blast off into space, that you have to cosplay as a woodworker, that you have to.
You're talking about that Tucker Carlson photo?
Yeah, you know I am.
Let's take a look at that photo real quick. So this photo of Tucker Carlson that came out this week, what is going on in this? He has no paint or anything on that ladder. That ladder is very clean. All of the cans and everything are forward facing towards camera. It feels very staged. I don't think that wooden toolbox that's sitting in front of him, I don't think he could explain the joinery of that.
No, and his shoes are the true red flag.
Oh, dude, he's wearing Birkenstocks.
Yes.
No fucking way is anyone in a wood shop wearing Birkenstocks.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Rich dudes cosplaying is like
I want to
middle
talk.
class, like, oh, I'm just a woodworker. Like,
I want to talk to the people of San Diego real quick. I lived in San Diego for a while. And when I was down there, this is when Tucker Carlson was on CNN, I believe. He had a national career, but he was kind of getting started. And he was a lot more middle of the ground.
mhm.
He wasn't like a firebrand of the right yet. He was just like a doofus in a bow tie. And the rumors about this man that I was told unsolicited constantly in my time in San Diego are numerous. So people of San Diego, why are we sitting on this dirt?
Spill the beans, San
Why are
Diego.
we- why are we sitting on this dirt? I heard it all the time.
I've heard. Again, this is
He's a
just
litigious
hearsay.
man. I'm certain of it.
But-
It's all hearsay. I saw nothing myself, but I
Well,
heard it.
the man loves that nose candy.
I heard quite a bit of things about this man.
He likes that booger sugar, and he can afford it because his parents have a frozen fish.
Not frozen fish. It's just frozen foods.
Is it frozen? It's
Yeah.
Swanson, right?
Yeah, it's Swanson.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, rich dudes just kind of cosplaying like they're not rich. Like, I don't mind rich people. Just don't like own it. Just pretend. Stop trying to pretend like you're not rich. It's fine. Like, I don't know. Bezos cosplaying as an astronaut. This is something you told me earlier. I always thought that like astronauts, because it is such a prestigious job, I always thought these dudes are rich as shit.
No, they're not.
They make a very like middle
Like a comfortable living. They live, I mean, suburb kind of house, like the Kelly brothers. If you watch the documentary based on them, you can see how they live. And I mean, it's nice, but it's not
it's not billionaire shit.
it's not even millionaire shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, comfortable middle class, not even upper middle class. The hot tub wasn't that nice, I'll be real.
But yeah,
What I want to see though is all the ex-wives, the billionaire ex-wives. I'm talking Mackenzie, I'm talking Melinda, the
okay.
whole crew, a murderer's row of ex-wives with all the money and all the axes to grind. And I want to see them like hit the road, Velma and Louise style, but like solving crimes, curing world hunger, like eradicating polio.
Make that buddy comedy. Where is that feature film?
Yeah.
Or where is that Netflix show of ex-wives of billionaires?
Mhm.
I'd watch it.
Hell yeah, I'd watch it.
We're repped at United Talent Agency. So go ahead and give us a ring, Hollywood.
I'll write it.
We are very available right now.
Very
promise you that.
available.
I have a theory that he's going up into space because he's just trying to ditch some of his money.
Ditch, like he's trying to get rid of it, or he's hiding it.
He's hiding it. He's
Oh.
squirreling it away up in the sky because
Ooh.
all this talk about taxing the wealthy, especially billionaires. And Bezos is like, oh yeah, that's crazy. Y'all gonna tax billionaires. Anyways, let me just jump in my rocket ship with a couple suitcases not full of money real quick. And he just fucks off into the atmosphere, and he just get that shit out, just offload that money,
Mhm.
and then he comes back down, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what happened."
You guys
gonna
only
tax
tax Earth books, right?
Yeah, oh, my money. You want to tax that? Oh yeah, that's up there. It's up in the sky. Go get it. Go get it, IRS. All my money, my billions of dollars is up there. Go ahead. Oh, you're gonna have NASA do it?
No, it's not in the cloud. It's in the clouds.
It's in the motherfucking atmosphere is where. Yeah. Daddy Bezos really making it rain.
Oh my good Lord. You'd think like with all that fucking money, he could help solve the Cuban food crisis. His adopted dad is Cuban.
Yeah, he's a Cuban immigrant.
Yeah, he could solve this. He could be the hero of Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he's like bringing a rose con pollo in space and being like...
Yeah, let's take a look at that video.
I have a little roast con pollo for you. My grandmother's recipe. My brother Mark. Hey everybody. Where do you want to eat?
Okay, so first thing I want to note is his outfit. So in Texas, and I understand that Bezos he's from Houston, like your boy. He was actually born in Albuquerque, but
his roots are legit.
He went to River Oaks, which is like really wealthy. He's from Texas, so I don't hate on the fit, but we have an expression in Texas when people kind of cosplay as cowboys. We say all hat, no cattle. I don't know if that makes it pretty clear.
Yes.
It's the same people who buy these big ass pickup trucks that don't have a speck of dirt on them. They've never been to a construction site, never seen any lumber.
Mm-hmm.
Big ass truck, lifted, cowboy hat, boots, belt buckle.
Big bras, all tissue.
Yeah.
I know.
It's the same vibe.
Yeah,
it's the same vibe.
I was like, my titties are not, you can't appropriate titties.
Did you take a look at this recipe? I kind of wanted to shit on it just because I was like,
oh yeah, but it's his grandma's recipe.
It's his grandma's recipe. And honestly, like it looks legit. There was nothing too unusual about it. So.
No, I mean, it's sweet. It's just like, he's so fucking obnoxious. And also just the people of Cuba are starving. Maybe don't like lead with a Cuban dish.
Yeah, fair point.
Read the room. The room is the earth.
Read
it.
No, he's trying not to read it. He's trying very hard to ignore the room.
Well, what's crazy is his college graduation speech. He talks about how he wanted to colonize like space and make Earth like a national park.
Mm.
So get all of the people.
This is the shit that I was saying.
It's concerning.
I hate being right. I've been talking about this for years. We need to weaponize the moon before they colonize Mars. That's all I'm saying.
In more food related news, the thing that's driving me the most crazy this week is the phrase chef inspired. So you'll see like in these commercials, all these restaurants are trying to revamp and get customers back. So it's like, oh, our chef inspired menu, our chef inspired meals. Like,
where'd you see this?
I've seen it in all kinds of ads.
I see it a lot too, but like what triggered you?
All of it. Every single time I was like, what does chef inspired mean? It doesn't mean how is all food is technically chef inspired, but also why isn't it chef created?
Yeah, fair point. All food we want to be, we're aiming for chef.
I mean, it's all cook inspired. If you're trying to say somebody thought of this, like I didn't think AI and an algorithm created my Skittles Taquito Crunch. Like I don't.
I also don't think that there are like chefs sitting around in like a test kitchen being like, you know what, we need a new Hot Pocket. Flavor.
Yeah, no, I mean those are food scientists.
We need a new lean cuisine. Like that's
close can we
chef
get
inspired
to crack without it being crack? Like that's what the food scientists are doing. So I understand they're trying to like change that, but chef inspired is just nonsense words.
If you're a restaurant and you use the expression chef inspired,
even if you're a fast casual restaurant,
who's in your kitchen?
Yeah, like Chipotle. I don't want to hear about your chef inspired flavors.
There it is.
Like eat a dick.
Yeah,
that's chef inspired.
Yeah. Chef inspired. What else? All natural.
All natural. Artisan.
Hand-grown.
Artisan. No.
Unregulated.
These words mean nothing.
You know what? Regulate chef inspired and start naming the chef.
Inspired?
Say it.
Say their name.
Say the name. Say the name. Be like, we wanted to create a dish that people universally love. It's affordable. It's accessible. And it's SpaghettiOs. Chef Boyardee.
Hey, put some respect on that man's name because he
No-
actually
no
was
disrespect to
legit. He was
Chef
a
Boy
legit
ID was a
dude.
motherfucking man. No
Yeah.
disrespect to Chef Boy ID. All disrespect to Chef Inspired Meals.
Yes, and
So-
cans of food. Well,
Fair.
not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was in a previous, we talked all about Chef Boy ID in a previous episode of the podcast. He was in my food history and he was
He's
fucking,
got a fascinating past.
yeah, so go check that out. And if you're ready for some more hot facts.
Fuck yeah, let's get into some food history.
It is now time for This Week in Food History.
This some serious gourmet shit.
So this week for our food history, we're going to talk about some fresh as fuck food facts because I've been coming across all kinds of interesting things in my years of doing this segment. And when I'm doing these deep dives, like it'll be just like these hot little nugs, these little fact nugs. And it's not enough to make a whole segment around, but I want to share it with you guys. But instead it just like sits in a corner of my brain. So I'm like, hey, guess what? Hey, guess what, Nat? He's like, shut the fuck up. So now we're going to do a food data dump and just clear up some space in my brain.
You do that where you have a whole segment of food history and you have like an aside where you're like, oh, and by the way, this was also happening, but I don't have the time to get into it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into
Okay.
it. All right.
So are you ready? You ready? Okay. So before 2012, Pizza Hut was the largest purchaser of kale in the United States.
Pizza Hut?
Pizza Hut. Now you're like,
2012?
what
What were they putting kale on in 2000?
Their salad bar as filler between the bowls in their salad bar. It was not being consumed. It was just set decoration. So this is a two for y'all. Number one, Pizza Hut used to have salad bars. They had curtains too.
There's a lot to unpack. Yeah. Do y'all remember when Pizza Hut had curtains? What a weird time. Why?
What?
The entire restaurant smelled like dough.
Do restaurants have curtains anymore?
No, I think like as a kid, I thought it was weird that Pizza Hut had curtains. It's even weirder now.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like when restaurants have carpet.
yeah.
Or like how CVS has carpet. What is up with that? I know people puke in CVS.
Do you think that it's a liability thing? They don't want people to slip and fall?
But so many other places have it. But I wonder if it's just like they're predominantly old.
Mhm.
But why don't you just do a path of carpet to the prescription counter?
If you're above a certain age, CVS is like, get on the carpet.
Yeah.
Get on-
It's
You're a fucking fall
disgusting.
risk. Get on the
Yeah,
carpet.
It's fucking disgusting. All right. Second hot fact.
Olive Garden has carpet.
Well, they also have chairs on wheels.
Chairs on wheels in a restaurant. Red flag.
Huge red flag. So instead of chicken nuggets, McDonald's actually first started selling onion nugs.
You mean onion rings?
Negative. I do not. In the 1970s, McDonald's chef inspired. No.
God damn it.
Renee
God damn it.
Arend, there used to be chefs, created these bite-sized pieces of onions that were battered and fried, and they looked very similar to today's chicken nuggets. So
Okay.
it was like a little onion nug, a little chunky onion nug. And they tested it in some various markets here in the United States in 1978, 1979. But McDonald's chairman, Fred Turner, at the time said, hey, why don't we just do this with chicken? And then the chicken nugget debuted in 1983, and the onion nug hasn't been seen since. But I feel like as they're trying to move more towards a plant-based menu, bringing back the onion nugs,
There you go.
it's not even because it's not like it's fake
Onions-
chicken. It's not a threat to chicken nuggets, but people love,
Onions aren't expensive. You're already buying them.
yes. And people just want the batter and the crunch.
McDonald's, call us.
Bring back the nug.
That's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Right?
And I'll bet in the beginning they probably used like real chicken too.
Oh, yeah.
Before it was like the pink slime chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pez, the little pellet candies, little
Mhm.
minty pellet candies, were originally developed as an anti-smoking aid.
Really?
Yeah, so it was to keep your hands and your mouth busy. And so that's
that
why
checks out. As an ex-smoker myself, yeah, you fidget
yeah,
a lot.
and that's why they have the Pez dispenser, because it was supposed to mimic carrying the lighter and like opening it and offering it to people, like to light the smoke. Like it was the whole.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so the
Now,
original ones
I've-
looked a lot like little lighters.
Yeah.
They didn't have all the cartoons. It wasn't until the 50s when they started introducing the fruitier flavors of
Mhm.
Pez and then made it more a kid's candy. But when it started in the 20s, I believe, in Germany, it was for anti-smoking.
and maybe this is just my fucked up brain. I grew up around guns. As a kid, I always thought that the Pez dispenser represented like a magazine, the way that like you load.
They made the Pez dispensers that looked like real handguns. And then you would shoot the Pez into your mouth. Google
What?
it.
Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
Like not even like an orange gun, like a real like
they made it look like a
body,
real gun.
metal, wood handle, and the clip is black, like you clip it in. And it's not an orange tip.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I'll put it here.
They made it look like a real gun.
Yeah. It was
That's
wild.
insane.
Y'all, the 50s and 60s were wild. Start smoking. Or stop smoking.
Stop smoking.
Start murdering.
Start murdering yourself with sugar.
Yeah.
And now America suffers from diabetes and guns.
Thanks, Pez. So the first known recipe for German chocolate cake was published in the Dallas Morning Star newspaper on June 13th, 1957 as a recipe of the day. It used Baker's German's sweet chocolate, which was a brand of mild dark baking chocolate that was invented by Sam German 100 years before. So that's why it's called...
Oh, it was his name.
His name. So the chocolate itself isn't German. His name was Sam German. So it was German's chocolate. So
That's interesting.
when this recipe was submitted by Mrs. George Calais, we don't know her name because of sexism. She was a Texas homemaker and her human name has been lost to time. But her husband, George Calais, gets all of the praise, I guess. So she submitted this recipe, but it was German's chocolate cake at the time.
Not like the country.
Not the country. It was German's to denote the brand of chocolate that she was using.
Okay.
But then the cake got so popular so quickly that people just dropped the possessive and then it became German chocolate cake, but it has nothing to do with Bavaria.
I always thought that it was fucked up, like even as a kid, when it would be like Mr. and Mrs. and it would just be the dude's name.
That's my grandmother would send like cards and whatever to my mom, her daughter, and they would address them to Mrs. my dad's full name. Her own daughter. And I would just be like, isn't this your mom? If you do this to me, man. I'm going to kill you.
That's fucked up. Like you lose your identity.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're clearly the property of your husband.
Yeah.
But do you know who's the property of German's chocolate anymore? Not the cake. Gone. Possessive. Over with. It's German chocolate cake. And then these last two facts are my favorite ones.
Okay.
Okay. So a singular spaghetti noodle is called a spaghetto.
Ooh, I thought it'd be a spaghetti.
Spaghetto.
Spaghetto.
When I was a little spaghetto, I would just eat the one long noodle all the day. This is playfully xenophobic.
Geppetto grew up in the spaghetto.
Spaghetto is the best word.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
adorable.
Good. Is that how they got the SpaghettiOs?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or it just looks like an O, bruh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Spaghetto. I like that.
Spaghetto. And the plural of beef? It's beeves.
I knew that because
I can't stop talking about it.
We've talked about this internally at our office for years.
Beeves.
How much?
B-E-V-E-S. What the fuck? English.
What do you think it should be?
Oh, I absolutely think it should be beeves. I love it.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a beeves salesman. I sell beeves.
Arby's. We've got the
beeves.
Fuck Arby's. Anyway, speaking of spoiled food, let's get into Total Recall.
Have you brought any fruits or vegetables onto the planet?
Welcome to Recall.
Get ready for a surprise.
I think that was Bezos up in space.
He's ejaculating onto Mars.
Yeah, he rolled. Bezos rolled a.
It's so much worse now that we're on camera.
No, it's better.
No,
it's so much better.
I feel low.
Yeah, Bezos rolled the window down to put some gold bullion out the fucking window. For those, I don't know if y'all are new here, this is Total Recall, the segment where I cover the week's largest food recall, and most of those audio clippings. You've seen Total Recall, right? Some people haven't. I don't know. There were two of them. There was a remake.
I've seen both.
They're both decent. The original is great. The second one
has Colin Farrell in it.
Yeah, it was fun. Anyways, this week, Green Dining Table, based out of Alhambra, California, is recalling more than 183,000 pounds of pork dumplings due to mislabeling. The products contain milk and coconut, which are known allergens, but were not labeled.
What a waste of dumplings.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that it's like it's not even just like the pork itself. It's like the product's already made.
Yeah, the product is fine. It's just mislabeled.
Yeah. Essentially a glorified typo for a massive recall.
Yeah.
This recall is so massive. Again, if you're new here,
How massive is it, Matt?
I like to put it into math. So the medium yield of pig at slaughter is roughly about 210 pounds, which would equate this recall to roughly 870 pigs to make these dumplings.
That's a glut of pigs.
There's a ton of pigs. And that takes about 576 gallons of water to produce just 1 pound of pork. So this recall wasted more than 105 million gallons of water in 870 pigs.
As water becomes currency and scarce, and
it's
even more scarce.
It's on the stock market now. So.
It like that is how we should start measuring a lot of these, like the environmental impact of all of these things, whether you're spilling sewage into drinking water, you're poisoning the water table. Water. Yeah, it should be like gross environmental negligence, and you should be able to be fined. Not like 30,000, like a hefty motherfucking fine.
Well, I think
the pure cost of the cleanup.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Well, in our imaginary Total Recall, everything gets tossed into the Recall River, which at this point, we've been doing this for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Recall River is gross.
I mean, it's really more of a sludge run.
The Recall sludge run.
Yeah.
We cleaned up Recall River when we had the Total Recall where the oysters were getting put back into the ocean. So those oysters cleaned up the river, but then the following week it just immediately got sludged up again. Yeah, I agree. Do people lose their jobs over this kind of shit? Like this seems negligent. It's a fucking typo.
For sure, people should lose their jobs, but this seems like the kind of thing that went through too many people's desks.
Like too many fingerprints on it.
Yeah, there's blood on too many hands.
Sure.
So they're gonna fire like an intern.
Right. Yeah, there should be some accountability if you're gonna have that much food waste, because like we've covered on past episodes, there's already so much fucking food waste in the system as it is. So you're not just wasting the food that you actually made, you're wasting all of the elements that went into that. You're wasting the water, you're wasting the
wheat,
the
wrappers,
the feed,
yeah,
the fucking gas that the truckers use to transport, like all that shit out the window. And I think that if no one's gonna get fired over it, then the parent company should bear some financial responsibility.
This kind of ties into my news story for this week. So this month, the Rockefeller Foundation published this 36-page report titled "The True Cost of Food: Measuring What Matters to Transform the U.S. Food System," where they estimated that Americans don't see the true cost of our diets when we check out. Food costs are rising all over the country. We all know it. We can all see it.
I just like that these reports that you and I read. First of all, we read these, so y'all don't have to.
I encourage you to read them.
It's a slog. But they
Unless you're a motherfucking nerd.
They always have the sexiest names.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
True
mouthful.
Cost of Food, measuring what matters to transform the U.S. food system.
It tells you what they're about. So I'm not mad at that.
Not brevity.
Yeah.
So the Rockefeller Foundation estimates that American grocery bills actually only reflect 1/3 of the true cost of food, like you're saying with these recalls. Here's an example. In 2019, American consumers spent an estimated $1.1 trillion on food. And that price tag includes the cost of producing, processing, retailing, and wholesaling all the foods we buy and eat. But when you add in all the hidden costs of our food system, whether that's healthcare costs, the spending associated with biodiversity loss, the direct environmental impacts of factory farming, ranching, monocultures, degradation to the water table, all of these things like we're discussing, they actually determined that we spend at least $3.2 trillion on food each year. But just that
So
triple. But the other stuff isn't seen as part of our food system directly. So it's kind of like hidden numbers in the math.
Yeah, and because of that, there are unintended consequences, whether it's more pollution or fucking climate collapse.
The underpaying all the farm workers. So we're not paying these people a living wage, and then they're exposed to all these pesticides. So they have all these healthcare costs down the road. And that's all part of the cost of our food system. Whether we acknowledge it or not, it doesn't matter.
You pay for it. You pay for it eventually, one way or another. Maybe you don't pay for it when you're checking out. But yeah, this is
you're going to pay for it in your taxes. You're going to pay for it in all these other things. And scientists have long argued that the long-term environmental impacts of our food system should be reflected in the pricing. Same thing with fossil fuels. Like the cost of our gasoline at the pump should reflect what it's doing to the environment to burn the fossil fuels.
Everywhere that you use that gas, the roads, the highways, everything involved in that.
What it takes to clean up our water, our soil.
Put that into the base cost.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't even need to give a shit about the environment. Like even just focus on the human impact of the cost of our food system. The report says, quote, human health impacts are the biggest hidden cost of our food system, with close to $1.1 trillion in health-related costs to American taxpayers every year. The majority of these costs, $604 billion, are attributed to healthcare costs related to diet-related diseases like hypertension, cancer, and diabetes. And the additional costs are impacts from healthcare costs in workplace injuries, food insecurity, and pollution, and everything that goes along with that. And I just read today that the number one cause of bankruptcy in the country is
healthcare, right?
It's medical bills.
Yeah.
It wasn't 10 years ago. So again,
what was it 10 years ago?
I'm not sure. But this is what
year are we in? Oh, it's probably housing.
It was the recession. Yeah. And
great country you got here. Sure.
Would be a shame if someone reorganized it.
Would be a shame if someone blasted off into space and hid their money.
But the report goes on to talk about how regulating the environmental impact of our food, creating safe working conditions for everyone who works within it, and competitive wages, and supporting and expanding nutritional programs and benefits would actually reduce these hidden costs and show like a long-term gain and a more sustainable food system. It's actually kind of an uplifting end to this 36-page report, because they're like, okay, this is not a system that descended from on high. Like this is a system that we created, and so we can shape it and reshape it as, we see the flaws within it. It's not something that is unchangeable. It hasn't even always been this way.
No, this is our food system's fairly new.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only been getting worse. But everything's on fire right now, like with the supply chain problems and all these other issues. Like this is a great time to reorganize everything.
Well,
it's like after a breakup, when all of a sudden you get this funky haircut and you lose all this weight. And
or you
get a cool tattoo. Or
you start posting thirst traps on the gram.
Do you, America? Let's fix it.
No, what we're doing with our food system right now is that we're trying to get back with that ex.
Yeah. Like, I know that you stole all of my money and cheated on me, but I don't want things to change.
But I don't want anything to change. Yeah, we're not taking the opportunity to fix it. Is that we do have this unprecedented opportunity to fix our food system, because we understand the gaps in it.
Yeah.
Like when we went through the pandemic, we realized that we
went through, as we continue to go through the pandemic.
Still in the pandemic. Right? It's not real.
Oh, good Lord.
But yeah, it's just we didn't learn shit.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly disheartening.
We learned shit, but we just haven't
consumers.
We haven't implemented it, and we still can. It's not over.
Yeah, we have to, what do you think? Like we have to put pressure on these companies to do better. We have to put pressure on people who are running for office.
Fuck putting pressure. Fuck voting with your dollar. We need to get people, elected officials, to fuck it up. Start passing some goddamn laws and tax these motherfuckers. Otherwise, we're coming for your heads.
It's going to happen eventually. There will be
nobody will suspect the vegans.
Massive. Yeah, I don't know. We should at some point get fucking medieval on the
Medieval. Fucking, we don't even need to
billionaires.
mean medieval. Let's just get French.
The same billionaires who own grocery stores that when you are going through the checkout are telling the cashiers, the poor cashiers, are telling you, would you like to donate $1 to help feed starving children in a country that you can't pronounce? And it's not the cashier's fault. Tell them that their boss is an asshole.
Yeah. If he wasn't busy blasting off into space, he could cure world hunger. He could solve the food crisis in Cuba. He could make sure that no kid was hungry ever again.
He could work on being a better human.
A better
here.
Bezos.
A better Bezos. But speaking of biodiversity loss, organic food sales hit a record $62 billion in 2020, which is up about 12% from the previous year. And the sudden increase in demand has come with some unintended consequences.
God damn it.
Which is wildland being converted into farmland. So y'all know how they're just like setting the Amazon rainforest like on fire and like leveling it to make more space for beef production. Like the Amazon's not just randomly catching fire. They're intentionally setting on fire. Brazil is the largest beef manufacturer in the world. And y'all probably have heard us talk about JBS in the past. They're based out of Brazil. They're the largest beef manufacturer in the world. So this land clearing is starting to happen here, and they're doing it to get organic certification from the USDA because the land has to sit free for, I think it's 3 years, where there's no pesticides, there's no synthetic fertilizers.
You basically have to let the ground fallow before it can become certified organic.
There's your $10 word for the episode. Fallow.
Beeves and fallow.
But essentially, yeah, you can't just flip like a conventional farm to an organic farm overnight.
Yeah,
it takes,
or even in a season.
Yeah, it takes time, and a lot of farmers don't have that time or patience.
Or the capital to let their ground sit with nothing in it.
Right, they need to be turning a profit on harvest.
Mm-hmm.
So what producers are doing is that they're clearing previously undeveloped land.
So like wild lands.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they're turning that into organic farms. And this is disrupting local ecosystems by displacing flora and fauna. Like if you think about all the animals that live in these little ecosystems, like prairies, where they're clearing a lot of this land, like just think about the amount of bees, like.
Well, not even just bees, like just anything that lives in chaparral or in these grasslands or prairies lands. Like also these areas capture carbon and help keep the world cool. And so if we are just ripping everything out and tilling it, you're losing valuable topsoil. You're losing, like you said, all this biodiversity. It's fucking terrible.
It's the Dust Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
All over again.
Well, and it's happening in North Dakota because after the boom and bust of all the oil that they found up there, they're trying to convert some of these lands into farmlands. But there was this one area that's like, it was like the base of a lake. And everyone's like, no, you can't do organic farming there because you have to till more. And when you till more, the soil is so fine, it just blows away. And that's exactly what happened.
South Dakota, rise up. Rise up, South Dakota. I believe in y'all.
Take them. Fuck Bismarck.
But yeah, so both critics and organic farmers are asking the Biden administration to place restrictions on wildlife to agriculture conversion.
Okay.
Because global industry analysis estimates that organic sales are going to be at $500 billion by 2027.
In 6 years.
So
it went from
it's $62 billion in 2020. And 7 years later, they're estimating it's going to be $500 billion. So they're going to need a whole lot of land to meet that amount of production. And the cost of organic foods is going to increase.
But also just like stop being so fucking greedy, everybody. Like
Capitalism, baby.
Like organic food is great. It is better for the environment and all this stuff. But sometimes like if they're destroying wildlife areas and, wild lands to create this it's not better for the environment. And if you're like, it's too expensive for me to buy organic vegetables. I mean, conventional is fine. Conventional vegetables is better than
we said it a lot on the pod. We say it in all of our books. If you can afford organic food, great, good for you. But like conventional is just as good. There's no science that shows that organic is better than conventional.
And I mean, not necessarily, and not again, a bell pepper is better than no bell pepper. But I love that so much of being an adult is finding out that the good thing that you think you're doing is actually causing something terrible.
Yeah. I'm sitting here busting my ass, recycling the smallest bits of plastic.
To find out that 90%
Doesn't
of
go
recycling-
anywhere.
Yeah.
It just goes into a landfill anyways.
And
also,
even things that you think are like a net good, you're like, oh, okay, so you're never gonna come harder than this. Like it's gonna be perfect, it's gonna be beautiful. But unfortunately, every sparrow family is gonna lose its mom. And you're like, why are these things related? I hate being a grown-up.
that's a weird scenario, but I'm here for it.
I mean, wouldn't you believe it if they're like condoms killing sparrows, and you're like, oh God, no.
Yeah, we're not that far off. I mean, look, we could talk scenarios and rants all day, but
And we will. We'll just turn off the camera.
we'll just But I think let's wrap it up. What have we learned today, Michelle?
Oh, that's a great question. Everything is technically a chef-inspired meal, and I hate the English language.
We also learned that billionaires are probably hiding their money in space.
Mhm.
Probably.
Likely. Beeves is the plural of beef, and spaghetto is the singular of spaghetti. You have to spaghetto.
You gotta do it with the
little teeny meatball.
yeah. We also learned that it takes roughly 600 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of pork.
And eating organic could actually be worse for the environment. And all those sparrows don't have a mom now. That's our show for this week. Shout out to our producer, Caitlin Cleveland, who makes sure this podcast and this video is in all of your feeds and available for you to watch every single week. Even if we look shiny, that's not her fault. She's not here.
It's hot. It's very hot in the studio. It's 80 degrees in our studio right now, and we're running the AC on the lowest possible setting, so hopefully y'all don't hear it. But it is a warm day in Los Angeles.
I have no pants on. It's all top.
I assume this is how they do the news.
Yeah. I never heard different.
Shout out to our audience. Thanks for tuning in every week. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bad Manners Food. You can also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Bad Manners Food. You can email us at fu@badmanners.com. All of our recipes, especially the one that we mentioned at the top of the show, is available at badmanners.com.
Please don't write the first comment on every single one of our posts and ask us
Michelle,
where the fucking...
what of our two... We have two comments that we love when we post something. What are
We
they?
get them every single post since 2012. First one, where can I get the recipe? On the fucking website.
Let me tell you all something. If we post a recipe anywhere, it's on the website.
Always.
I promise.
Always.
I promise.
What's
It's
the
that-
second comment,
just
Matt?
look.
What's the second comment we always get?
Second comment that we always get and that we love when we post a brand new recipe
Never before seen.
is never before seen recipe is people being like, made this last night. It was fantastic.
How?
I appreciate the enthusiasm, but that's a weird fucking lie.
You couldn't. I made it last night for the first time.
It's a weird lie, but I love seeing it. But yeah, so that's the show this week. Y'all stay hungry, keep cooking, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.